Let's talk about Out of the Shadows from Justina Ireland. Each wave of the High Republic has been doing a three-pronged attack: a novel, a middle grade, and a YA. This is the middle grade for the second wave, and here's what we think of it. Out of the Shadows kind of functions as a spiritual successor to both A Test of Courage and Claudia Gray's Into the Dark. And what I mean by that is it carries over a lot of the same characters, at least the same primary characters, from both of those books. You have Vernestra Rwoh and her Padawan Imri, as well as you have Reath Silas and his master Cohmac. Of course, we get some great Nihil stuff in here as well, especially considering we have Marchion Ro, we have Lourna Dee, and Nan makes her reappearance. There are a lot of new characters that get introduced in here. The primary one is going to be Sylvestri Yarrow. Now, Sylvestri is a recently heartbroken character who's just down on their luck, lost their ship, lost their parent a while ago, and has gone to Coruscant to try and help figure out what's going on with these Nihil attacks. That ends up getting caught in a weird game of politics and powerful families, and that's really the catalyst of this story. It's a down on her luck hauler who is just getting swept along into this crazy story that has ramifications on the entire galaxy. You know, when I say ramifications on the entire galaxy, I truly mean it. Like, this isn't as disconnected as the previous middle grade and young adult books. This one actually has huge implications for the rest of the High Republic and introduces some big name players. So this book, definitely don't sleep on it. Vernestra Rwoh is quickly becoming one of my favorite Jedi, a newly minted Jedi Knight who is knowledgeable in the ways of the Force, but very naive when it comes to the galaxy, and was just knighted right before all of this craziness is happening where they are on the brink of war. So it's really fascinating to watch this character's journey and as they evolve throughout these different books and comics. Also, even though they were a brand new knight, they've taken a Padawan on themselves. And this is because of tragedy, because of the situation at hand. But now they have a Padawan who is also powerful, is only a couple years younger, and has problems of their own. So it's awesome watching them kind of suss this out and figure out both of their places in this galaxy. Now, the Nihil are mostly known as like mindless marauders that go around killing and pillaging as they please, but not all of them are quite like that. There's a group that's led by one of the Tempest runners, Lourna Dee, that is all about intelligence and espionage and control. And it's really interesting because they are the primary players, at least on the Nihil side of things in this book, and they do things differently. So we get to see a whole new side of the Nihil that is a lot more complex and has really a lot more dangerous because you don't know exactly what they are capable of. And so it's awesome to kind of get that side built up as well. Overall, I did enjoy the book, but in context with the other High Republic books, it's probably my least favorite. Not because it's not good, but because this book kind of has a snowball effect. You know, the story starts out slow, and it slowly builds and slowly builds and slowly builds. And, you know, when I was reading a few of the other ones, they brought me into the nitty-gritty and gave me the hook right away. This one, it's a slow burn that all builds up to this crescendo that is really good. But it kept it, it made it a little bit more difficult for myself personally through the first half of the book. Overall, it's a good book. It was a fun read. I'm highly going to recommend it to anyone that's interested in the High Republic because we had a great continuation of Vernestra Rwoh, one of my favorite Jedi. I love Reath Silas. He just wants to study and be a good boy. It's so wholesome, but he has to like get into the nitty gritty and fight. We also tie up some big loose ends that were started in Light of the Jedi. So we tie up some plot points from the larger story, which I think is really interesting that we're getting that in the middle grade, which definitely makes it worth reading, as well as introducing a couple new factions that are going to be key players in the world to come. So highly recommend reading this book. On my list, I am going to give it a B+, and yeah, that's going to be my ranking. And if you enjoy the channel, please subscribe and like. I certainly appreciate it. And may the force be with you always.